How did they translate bin? Because you don't have bins in America, do you?
Yeah, well, with difficulty, because, as happened last night, I took out the trash rather than filled a bin. So they've been explaining it, and people have been getting it. Americans are fairly bilingual in that way. But how they describe Farage and his politics is interesting. So CNN, for example, has made no bones about calling him hard right, which is what I think the press used to call Nigel Farage, but has been wary of doing so the more popular that Reform has become. So this is interesting. For the most part, though, I think that Nigel Farage is sort of cresting in his support in America. A lot of the people that used to promote him on his shows, like, say, Tucker Carlson, on Fox News, is no longer on Fox News and is somewhat more on the fringes, though still influential.
Let's move on to another aspect of what happened in Clacton in that by-election. As we said, it was won by Nigel Farage on 63.8% of the vote. Count Binface came second on 26.7% of the vote, with well over 9,000. The intergalactic space warrior has not only gained 26% of the vote, but also quite a bit of notoriety, it has to be said, across Earth, most notably in the United States, thanks to some unusual interviews.
Well, I am the galactic centre, and everything else just revolves around me like little planets.
Could you put that in, like, American political terms?
Yes. I'm the galactic centre, and everything else spins around me like little planets.
Sorry, I've heard that a few times. It keeps making me laugh. Sarah Baxter, Director of the Marie Colvin Centre for International Reporting, joins me now. Sarah, I don't know whether you were having a chuckle at that, but this idea that it's the British eccentric, and here we have another one on display. Do the Americans like that?
They're lapping it up. This is not the first time I've heard that clip, which has gone viral in the States. And like you, it's made me laugh every time. And they love the idea of Count Binface, who I think reminds them of Monty Python. You remember the Knights of Ni or whatever?
Yes. It's only
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes, it's only a flesh wound.
Yes. Anyway, it's got bigger than Liz Truss's lettuce, which also appealed to everyone over in the States. And the fact that Nigel Farage was at one point Donald Trump's favourite British politician only adds to the spice. I've got to tell you, I've just been reading the Washington Post on the overnight result. It goes, Farage beats Binface, ! Which shows that he's really cut through, but goes on to say, but scandal still shadows Britain's Trump ally. And it opens with the remark that in the end, Nigel Farage didn't even show up to claim his win. So it really has cut through in the States, and everybody is enjoying the spectacle of Farage being embarrassed. The article even goes on to speculate about who might replace Nigel Farage as leader. So that must be particularly wounding.
So it hasn't just been coverage in the United States of, the joke candidates and, oh, how quaint the Brits are. They have been seriously covering the election and its aftermath as well.
Well, I think that America, at a time when Donald Trump is hitting historic lows in the opinion polls, is interested to see how his British ally is faring. Boris, once the Britain Trump, as Trump called him, has gone. And now there's still Nigel. But the wind got taken out of his sails quite a lot when Elon Musk started to promote Rupert Lowe of the Reform Party, which did the Reform Party, I should say, no harm at all.
Yes, Rupert Lowe of Restore, yes.
Restore, I beg your pardon. That's the trouble with being thousands of miles away. You're quite right.
And of course, he didn't stand in the Clacton by-election. Can I just ask you, though, I mean, in terms of language, we often say that, we share a language with America, but there are so many differences and different tones and meanings. How did they translate bin? Because you don't have bins in America, do you?
Yeah, well, with difficulty, because, as happened last night, I took out the trash rather than filled a bin. They've been explaining it, and people have been getting it. Americans are fairly bilingual in that way. But how they describe Farage and his politics is interesting. So CNN, for example, has made no bones about calling him hard right, which is what I think the press used to call Nigel Farage, but has been wary of doing so the more popular that reform has become. So this is interesting. For the most part, though, I think that Nigel Farage is sort of cresting in his support in America. A lot of the people that used to promote him on his shows, like, say, Tucker Carlson on Fox News, is no longer on Fox News and is somewhat more on the fringes, though still influential. And so I think he's lost some of his perch in America. He's no longer being invited to Mar-a-Lago every other week to hang out with President Trump. Obviously, he still has a lot of friends in the US, but there is this sense, as in Britain, that he might have peaked. Of course, this might be premature.
Sarah, just a very quick word with you. In the last few hours, Luigi Mangione has pleaded guilty and admitted in court that he shot the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson. And Mangione now faces up to life in federal prison. Here's what happened outside the court. US Attorney James McDonald delivered this message.
Mangione attempted to send a public message through violence, but the message that emerges today is very different. Violence is not a legitimate instrument to promote any political or social message. And those who resort to violence in an effort to advance their beliefs will be prosecuted, convicted, and put in jail. Today, the Southern District of New York, together with our law enforcement partners, writes the final chapter of Mangione's federal prosecution.
Sarah, very, very briefly, if you could, how's this case viewed in the United States?
Well, Mangione has a surprising number of fans for a cold-blooded murderer. He admitted at last, having talked as if he was going to plead not guilty, that he did shoot the United Healthcare CEO and seems to have subscribed it to back pain. So he's probably hoping that some kind of plea deal will see him with a somewhat reduced sentence, but he's looking at 24 years or more, according to a judge.
Sarah Baxter, thank you so much. Director of the Marie Colvin Centre for International Reporting.